I was 33 years old, the same age my mother was when she unexpectedly passed away. At just 3 years old, I couldn't understand it. It didn't make sense. She was loving, she was gentle, she was kind, I heard, but then she was gone. Something got carved deep into my soul from that moment. I remember it very clearly. It said, life is short and time is sacred. Fast forward a few years, I had made it. Had a thriving marketing agency, beautiful home, luxury cars, all the things a man would ever want, all the things I dreamt about as a kid growing up. But as I accumulated, I realized that I started to hear this whisper. Not loud, but very persistent. Kept saying, this isn't it, this isn't it. I tried to cover that whisper with more work, more deals, more stuff. But as I started to cover it more stuff, the whisper started to scream at me. And it turned into an ache that I really couldn't ignore anymore. And as that ache got louder and more intense in my body, I realized that I've been wearing a mask my entire life, and my soul was asking me for a pivot. I went home one night and I sat with my wife and I said, honey, something is missing. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it, but we need to do something differently. And I think we should talk about it because maybe I'm going crazy. And I feel bad saying that because I did all the things and I'm having all these things and I should be happy. But deep inside I wasn't. And as I was talking to her, she was nodding. And it's almost like she was getting the same whisper too, because she didn't flinch. And in that moment, we made a decision where it came back where life is short and time is sacred. What would we do with this opportunity then if we're going to make a pivot, if we're going to make a change? And I came up with the idea, and I'm like, yes, let's go travel the world, have an amazing experience, eat good food. You tell, I love eating food, you can tell. And go see the world. Expose our kids to cultures and different things that probably we wouldn't normally would have. And she said, sure, let's do it. I'm like, no, that sounds crazy. Sounds like a lot of money, doesn't make sense. We can't do that. Fast forward a few months, we made the decision. Very crazy decision in the moment, but we followed through to sell all our belongings, sell all our things, and go explore the world. We did a series of DNA tests. And based on the DNA test, this would track our path and where we would go. So we went to, based on the results, Africa, North and South America, Europe, and Asia. As we traveled, though, it's very interesting seeing the world from a different lens, because you realize that culturally you're brought up a certain way or you see certain things, but as you go out, things start to become much clearer for you. Our kids were homeschooled at the time, and they went into their process of their own pivoting and their own learning. One of the things, though, as we traveled, it almost shifted from being a travel and it turned into a pilgrimage for me. One of the defining the moments in the travel took us to Ghana, West Africa. And while we were in Ghana, West Africa, we went to a dungeon. For over 400 years, human beings were captured, chained, brought into these dungeons, held, transported on ships to the Americas and other places. As I stood in the dungeon, I had this overwhelming feeling that took control and took over me, where I smelled the blood, the pain, the chaos that took place for many, 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 many decades. I couldn't help it but to have a release in that moment, and I just started to cry. I started to snob, I started to snot, I just started to release. I couldn't help it anymore. While I stood there, I just felt my kids, one on each side, just held my hand, and my wife hugged me from behind. And in that moment, I wasn't a father anymore. I wasn't a husband. I wasn't a businessman or a speaker. I was just a man finally feeling. That moment in Ghana cracked something open in me. It cracked open a truth that I've never dared to say out loud. I've spent most of my life performing what I thought was expected of me. But beneath that, I really didn't know who I was. So for months, I went on a process of meditating, journaling, digging deeper into who I am, me, not the mask, but me. Sat with a lot of wise elders everywhere I went because I just needed the knowledge, the information to figure out why when I was in the dungeon and I left and I looked at my kids, they looked different. Why was I feeling this feeling that I needed to categorize and understand? And as I did the work over weeks and months, I found the process for me that I've been wearing masks, and these masks were categorized in 5 different categories. And I needed to basically unmask each one to see who I was, to uncover the depth of what I thought I was, and to make a pivot to being my authentic self. One of those masks is, number 1, unmasking the inner child. It's basically the parts of us that we had to bury as kids to survive. But deep inside, there is a wonder, a creativity, a truth that's still there. And the journey in unmasking is to go back and find the tender parts of us that we covered and whisper or speak to the inner child, that inner boy, that inner girl, and say, hey, I see you. I remember you. This was a very important process in my own journey, dealing with the loss of my mom at such a young age and the impact that it had on my life. Number 2 is unmasking societal influence. And these are the silent agreements of who we need to be to belong. These are the masks we wear around race, around gender, around culture. Who are you genuinely without those masks? This is the process of being authentic and understanding who your authentic self is. Number 3, unmasking ancestral influence. Now, you see, while standing in those dungeons, I didn't have the experience of being chained in there, but I felt the grief, I felt the pain. Unmasking the ancestral influence allows you to go through a process of healing who you are in this moment, but also healing the past and the future. As I do my own work, I affect and influence my kids in their own way, not passing certain things on to them. Number 4 is unmasking the cosmic influence. I am a part of you just as much as you are a part of me. Unmasking the cosmic influence allows us to see that we are a part of a bigger picture. We seem separate, but we're all part of a collective unity. And number 5 is unmasking wholeness and sovereignty. Now, you're never broken. We've only been living from it. And the truth is, once you remove that, you get to stand from a space of true authenticity, grounded, free, and strong. Now, I know some of you are probably saying, sure, Ike, that's great. I'm not going to sell everything and travel the world. Or I can. I see you. But you don't have to. You can actually start your own unmasking sitting where you are right now in the chairs, at home, at your dinner table, with your family, with your friends, in a journal. Ask yourself, what mask am I still wearing? What part of me is whispering, this isn't it? I've made the pivot from being an entrepreneur for the most part into serving others. I now serve as a coach, as a guide, as a witness, as a mentor. I wrote a book and I host a podcast. I help others to go on their own pivot and do their own work. That journey, that should have been 6 to 12 months on average, turned into 100 countries in 10 years. And based on the work as we traveled, we were awarded the National Geographic Explorer Traveler of the Year for the work we were doing in the community. I get to do now what my mom didn't get a chance to. And her death was my first wound, but it's also my first initiation. So I'll leave you guys today with this. You're never broken. You never were. Only hidden behind the masks. So now it's time to pivot and unmask. Thank you.